Hey guys, what's going on? Ideologies here. No, just kidding. My name's Shane. You know that. Okay, so I'm back here with Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 4. This is the final season. I'm finally caught up. So, I'm excited to actually do this week to week with you guys. Alright, so the biggest takeaway for me last episode was Eren, who is going under the alias Kruger. I'm not sure if they said that in the episode, but I saw it in the English subtitle. So, Eren is in Marley, and he is talking to Falco. He was giving Falco the spiel about moving forward. And he was being nice to Falco. Is Eren there for the same reason that Bertolt, Annie, and Reiner came to Paradis? Okay? Is he there to take them down from the inside? Is he there to get revenge? I don't know. I feel like he is. So Eren has been there for a little while. I'm not sure how long. I imagine he, at the very least, participated in that battle against the Mid-Eastern Alliance. You know what? I'm not really sure when he got there, but we know we first saw him in Episode 2. He was a guy who was in line with the other Eldian shell-shocked combatants. Combatants. You know what? I can't really pronounce that word. He was there in line with the other guys. That one commander makes a loud boom noise. They all fall down. Obviously, now I know, Eren, or Kruger, he was faking it. Falco helps him up. They begin kind of a little friendship. But yeah, that zoom in on his face where he looks like a badass and he says, you gotta keep moving forward. Dude, oh, it was, like, to me, like, that. I had to, like, make myself kind of, I had to block that out and remember that that was really a minority of the episode. Okay, anyway, so let's get on with most of the episode. It deals with Reiner. He's at home, laying in his bed, having, you know, and he's still experiencing he's at home, laying in his bed, and he's still experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder over everything that he did in Paradis. We have the flashback where we get to see into the mind of Reiner, get to see a lot of his motivations. So he was a warrior candidate. We get to see a young Reiner. A young Eren, I'm not young Eren, a young Zeke, Annie, Bertolt, also Marcel and Porco, the Galliard family. So, it turns out Reiner was the least capable warrior candidate. All he really had was his grit and determination. He was basically like Rudy, okay? You can't count out that, you know what I mean? Tom Brady, he was selected 199th in the 6th round. In his draft class in the year 2000. And now he's the greatest of all time. Okay, the greatest quarterback of all time. And maybe one of the greatest players of all time. So, you can't count out the little guy who's striving and determined. On the flip side, he did have some help because it is revealed later, well, pretty soon after that, that Marcel, the brother of Porco, he undermined the whole thing and he diminished his brother's strengths to the military because he didn't want his brother to die in 13 years. So Marcel basically took his brother out from contention and Reiner slid right in there. That being said, we all know who Reiner is. He is a badass. He does work hard. During the celebration ceremony for the warrior candidates, there was a parade. Reiner sees his father. He's a tavern owner. He goes in there to connect with them and says, hey, now we can be together. And he's like, blah, get out of here, boy. I don't want you. That was a mistake. You're going to get me hanged. So we see that Reiner's, one of his primary motivations was to elevate him and his mother from poverty and low Eldian statushood to warrior, to being honorary Marleyans. That was all rendered moot, whatever, which one it is. Because his father didn't care. And his mother probably knew that. His mother never thought it would work out or whatever. Maybe she's delusioned, you know what I mean? Maybe it's like Joker, the movie Joker. I don't want to say anything else about Joker because I guess it would be a spoiler. I don't like spoilers. But if you've seen Joker, then you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we see Marcel get eaten by Ymir. We all know what happens there. Reiner assumes basically the leaderhood, like the leadership abilities, and the responsibility that Marcel had because they were going to go back. Andy kicked the shit out of him and he said, hey, Reiner's dead. I'm going to be Marcel. Okay? And then we see him in basically the boot camp for the cadets, saying that he's here to save humanity, and he just grew to be more of a badass. He adopted a more serious personality because he had that ideology. It took a long time for him to really change his ideology, and he's conflicted. You know what I mean? Like, because now he's in the system. He's to the point where he wants to commit suicide because he's just stuck. You know what I mean? He has his mom, he has his family, he has all the people, all the aliens are basically on, you know, he's carrying on his back. He has all the little kid warrior candidates who he knows are just going to repeat the cycle. He sees Gabby and he's like, hey, Falco, we got to make sure Gabby doesn't inherit the armor because we want to save her. He told Falco that in episode 2. Reiner's going through a really big crisis right now, but he's choosing to live for the warrior candidates. He still has them. So he's not going to off himself yet, hopefully. Okay, and then we have, like I said, back to Eren and, or back to Kruger and Falco on that park bench. That's where we're at. You got to keep moving forward, and we're going to move forward right now. We're going to jump into episode 4, and I'm going to come back here, give you guys my review, my breakdown, my analysis, so make sure you stick around. All right. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back here. I just watched episode 4 of Attack on Titan, and oh my gosh, I really like this episode. In terms of the oh shit moment, there was an after credit scene where we did see Falco lead Reiner to that little basement, and Eren was there. He looks up and he's like, it's been 4 years. And oh dude, that was freaking, that was like a big oh shit moment. Wish you guys could see my reaction. That being said, let me take it to the beginning, okay? And we'll get back to that little point in the story. In the very beginning, we have Reiner talking to Falco saying, hey, what are you doing out here? Where are you going this late? Falco says, oh, I forgot something. It turns out that he's actually delivering a letter for Eren because Eren, being an Eldian in the internment zone, without all the same privileges that a warrior candidate with a yellow armband would have, he asked Falco to deliver the letter to his family, which obviously that's going to his comrades. So he's using this kid, dude, he's using this kid to do his dirty work. But hey, it's war. And I understand what's driving Eren. I really do. That being said, dude, I'm really in love, especially after this episode. I'm really in love with these characters, the warrior candidates, and even the warriors that I kind of started to hate. I love them again, man. Like, this episode, more and more, it's really making me question who I'm rooting for. I really don't know. I don't know Eren's intentions. I imagine it's not good. So he's probably there in Marley collecting data so they can have a battle strategy. So he's collecting enemy data and he's smuggling it over back to Paradis. Well, dude, they don't have letters go to Paradis. They don't have a mail system over there. I guess what that means is he's sending letters to a location and the rest of Eren's comrades are already in Paradis. I can't think of any other way they would get that letter. After that, we did have Theo McGath. Basically, he's surprised by the fact that the Tybur family, finally, the Tybur family, I got to see them, that they kind of unexpectedly showed up in Marley with all their little private army that's not connected to the Marleyan or the rest of the world's army. They're kind of their own elite people, okay? And they're highly revered. So we get to see the patriarch, the guy in charge right now of the Marley family, which is Willie Tybur, slick, good-looking blonde dude who really, this episode made it just so apparent how respected and revered they are. And not just the name, but people seem to really like Willie. Like, later on, fast-forwarding to that dinner party, everyone was like, oh, hey, Willie, what's going on? Hey, Willie, do you remember this scar? Just stuff like that to show the audience that, hey, Willie and the Tyburs, they have a lot of influence. So much influence, in fact, that we find out from the conversation between Willie and Theo McGath that the Tyburs are secretly controlling influencing Marley from the shadows. So they have a high amount of influence. One thing that was really interesting in this episode was the relationship between Willie and Magath. They're on the balcony talking about the statue of Helos, okay? And basically, Helos is a Marleyan warrior, helped defeat the Titans. And there's basically a picture of him with a spear stabbing what I think is like a Titan. It almost kind of looks like that lion Titan, which the Jaws Titan, like through the head. So yeah, what's interesting is he said he wanted to see the statue, and Magath makes a comment saying, yeah, the statue, like Marley, is hollow. Based on the conversation about Helos and Marley being hollow, it just kind of makes me wonder, what is the true story behind Helos? And did he really put Marley on his back and defeat the Titans? I don't even know what that means. How can he just defeat the Titans? It just sounds like they propped up a fake hero to unite, not the audience, but to unite Marley under this false hero. And now it seems like that Marley is rotting from the inside out, and they're comfortable being like this nation that conquers other nations as long as the Eldian devils are fighting, and as long as all the conscriptions that they get from their conquered nations, almost like thralls, that they're using these other guys to fight their wars. Okay, but they don't really know what it's like to earn that. And I think Magath has a huge problem with it. And him and he said to Willie, hey, they shook hands, we're going to help each other. Okay, so another thing I wrote in my notes here actually is he wants Marley to be strong for their people and to take personal responsibility and not just rely on Eldians and their conquered people that they conscript in their army. But he also told Willie, hey, if I'm speaking in the ear of the guy who's actually in charge, then I would tell him it's too late. Like, this place is rotting from the inside out. So there's just a lot to say in that conversation. Willie talked about the country has plunged itself into darkness. Despite what influence that the Tyburs had, they couldn't stop Marley from going down this hole. Marley needs a new Helos, okay? Then we had a funny scene that I think a lot of fanboys would like. We had Peak on her knees on all fours. We had a funny little scene between her and Pac. He walks up the stairs and he sees her there just ass up in the air. And he's like, what are you doing? But you got to remember, she is a cart titan and she's used to being on all fours. It just makes me interested, like when she's in the nape of the titan, is she like on all fours? I guess it would make sense that she would be, like, if she's in it the traditional way, she'd be on all fours, but she's not moving like a fucking, she's not using like a really sophisticated virtual reality set. It's just mental. So yeah, I don't know. But she's on all fours. It's more comfortable for like that. I thought that was actually a really humorous moment. And then we had Reiner giving one of these military commanders intel on Paradise Island. I feel like this is one of those examples where the show is showing us a conversation that I believe must have already taken place years ago and probably multiple times. And I guess they're going to invade again, so they want a refresher. And the guy's like, you know what? Why the hell are we letting an Eldian talk? I didn't really appreciate that. And I noticed that we see Theo Magath kind of looking in silence. Now, there's always a reason why a show shows anybody doing anything, right? Because they cut that thing together, okay? So I interpret it as Magath maybe thinking that guy wasn't being appreciative of Reiner in the intel. Reiner wasn't trying to come up with a battle strategy. He was just providing intel based on what he knew, okay? And then we had that scene where they're all kind of on that balcony. They're overlooking the warrior candidates, and they did see Falco muster all his strength, and he beat Gabby in a foot race. And then we had them all kind of joking, like, all these kids are naive, you know what I mean? And they're kind of, I like seeing them kind of talk to themselves, like, hey, you know, these guys, they really know what they're doing, sending 4 kids to, you know, to carry out this huge mission. And we had Pac or Porco kind of sarcastically making that remark. But it was interesting to see them kind of looking at the new generation. It's one of those things where, in Reiner's case, I would be extremely nihilistic. We saw him attempt suicide in the last episode. So that was kind of a cool scene. It's also one of those things is, why is Falco trying so hard? There's no way he can overtake Gabby, or is there? But Reiner appreciated that quite a bit, and so did I. And then we had this scene where, and this is, I love stuff like this. So we had the scene where they were, I think they were entering the internment zone, and we had those, not Eldian, but the Marleyan guards there. So they developed a really good rapport with those Marleyan guards. And it's one of those things to where, yeah, not every Marleyan is going to be this racist piece of shit. A lot of those guys are just trying to put food on the table. And just like guys I know, they don't really have a stake in the divisions that divide. I live in the United States, so there's some of the divisions that divide our country. I know there's a lot of people who don't get into that. They don't give a shit because they think it's all a joke. So these guys are just being nice to these kids. So it was cool to see. It was cool to see that relationship. I was really appreciative of those guards. It's basically revealed that the primary motivation for Falco is to protect Gabby. Because Gabby goes on to say, hey, your family is already going to receive Eldian status. Because his brother Cole is going to inherit the Beast Titan from Zeke. But yeah, we know that he wants to save Gabby. And, you know, when I look at him, I also kind of see a young Reiner. Except Reiner was the worst of the candidates. And it seems like Falco, well, Falco seems to me, they didn't flesh out the other characters other than that dialogue we had in the first. We had that dialogue in the first episode where it makes it pretty apparent that Falco is kind of like Reiner. Okay, because Udo seems to be the smart one. And Zofia, I don't really know much about her, but I'm getting this Annie vibe from her. Like, she's like this tough, hand-to-hand fighter. And I'm completely, you know, I'm just kind of reading into that. But what does Falco have? Well, he's passionate, and he wants this, and he's going to try hard. And he's loyal, and that's what Braun was. And they also pronounced it Brown. I'm not sure if it's Braun or Brown. I'm just going to call him Reiner, okay? So Reiner, I think, sees a little bit of himself in Falco. So that was always that was really cool to see. We had that fucking old drunk guy hugging Zofia. That was kind of funny. And, you know, his old lady was like, hey, get your ass out of here, you damn drunk. You don't be touching young girls, right? We also had, and this was cool, how the Eldians are looking out for each other and how respected the Eldian warrior candidates are, that they actually were giving them free food to take home for their families to say, hey, you need to get big and strong like Reiner, okay? Like Vice Chief Braun, okay? And another interesting tidbit is Udo's family isn't from Liberia. He's from a different internment zone in a different country. And he says that the rest of the world hates the Eldians even worse than Marley does. So that kind of answers some questions for me. Someone left a really fleshed out comment explaining that to me. But I think I would have actually figured it out now with that comment. So it's like the whole world hates the Eldians. Marley is like the only place for them to be. So even if they staged a revolt, which I guess I do know that there was a couple revolts before, there wasn't like a revolt where all the shifters got together to fuck things up. They were just people, from what I understand. Kruger, the owl, was helping the Eldian restorationists, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a clandestine secret restoration. I'm talking about what Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt did. Just like use the powers of the Titans to have a mutiny. That just really answers some questions. So Marley isn't as bad as other nations when it comes to the treatment of Eldians. That being said, we did have that scene later on where that Asian chick from the East, I think they said that, she didn't want Udo to get in trouble for spilling wine on her kimono. Okay? And then we had that scene where Theo McGath and Willie Tybur, they're overseeing the construction of the stage for the theater production that Willie Tybur announced later in the episode that he's going to do to give the rest of the world his solution to the Titans. They're basically speaking in code there, and Willie talks about heavy is the head that wears the crown. He talks about he understands why none of his predecessors grabbed the wheel, because now that he's grabbing it and turning Marley down the path that he wants it to go from the shadows, all he wants to do is let go because it's so heavy and hard. What's funny is, like, it just made me think, like, there's these blue-collar laborers, you know, some of them might be Eldians, right? Some of them might be Marleyans. I'm sure there's both, right? I'm sure if you're really good, you get recruited into the labor union, okay? These guys are just part of the union. They're building this stage, and I imagine if they're doing it for Willie Tybur, they're using like some of the best lumber that is very sturdy, and they're doing a hell of a job. And we have McGath and Willie, and they're talking about, yeah, I know they're speaking in code, but I'm just thinking, like, what if they hear them? Let me find some direct quotes. So basically they talk about the structure looking unstable and rotting and infested with rats. And I can imagine what's kind of funny to think about is the guys sitting there, they're fucking hammering away thinking, motherfucker, this is some new wood. We're building this shit, ain't no fucking rats. It ain't rotting, it ain't infested. But yeah, but they're talking about Marley. They're talking about how Marley needs a restructure, which is they're planning something. McGath is in on it. I'm not sure what that plan is. Yeah, they kind of remind me of the League of Shadows, but they just see that like a nation, a great city, they've been conquering, they've been doing all this stuff, is starting to decay, and they need to fucking reset things. So I'm just wondering how turbulent, how violent of a reset that is. We already know that Aaron's here, and I imagine he's going to screw things up. That might happen now anyways, and they don't know that Aaron's here to do that. Or maybe they do know Aaron's here. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm just talking out of my ass, guys. I'm just throwing some theories out there. Yo, if I'm wrong, say, Shane, you dirty Filipino, you're wrong. Okay, and I'll go, okay, I am sorry. Sorry for being Filipino. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, and then we have Falco and Aaron sitting on that park bench again, kind of where that hospital is, where Aaron is getting treatment for his being shell-shocked. And we had that line again where Falco says he's going to keep moving forward. And Aaron, like, I can imagine being a spy and developing feelings for your enemies. You know, it's probably a really complex thing that real spies have had to deal with when they're undercover. But also, Aaron had a baseball glove. He said he got it from his friends or whatever. They sent it to him, or his family, to help pass the time. I'm sure that's going to have some significance. It does answer my question, though. I did talk about, is there sports in this world? Because we had the Beast Titan kind of grabbing rocks, crushing them, and just kind of winding up like a pitcher in baseball and throwing it. So there is baseball in the world, so that's kind of cool. It showed him tossing the ball in the air. I'm just wondering what the significance with the baseball glove is. An interesting scene we had immediately following that was Dr. Yeager, Grisha's dad, Aaron's grandpa, comes out and sits on the bench right next to him. And I imagine Aaron knows exactly who he is, especially after what the guy ended up talking about. And Aaron was, dude, that guy was stone cold, ice running through his veins. Didn't even budge. He didn't go, hey, Grandpa. You know what I mean? Because he inherited a lot of those memories, so he knows exactly who he is. Come to think about it, yeah, he would know that he kind of just put his head down to appease the Marleyans after his daughter, Aaron's aunt, was viciously killed. So he probably puts some of the blame on that guy, okay? Which, I think he's kind of right to feel that way. I get that. I certainly understand. But it turns out that guy, he was a doctor, but he is being treated in that hospital because now he's gone insane over all the things that his son Grisha did. He's going insane for basically losing both his children, okay? His daughter was killed, and I think he just regrets how everything went down now, how hard he was on his son Grisha. And as far as he knows, Grisha's dead, so he has no idea. He's sitting there talking to his grandson. And that's obviously probably why Zeke has a close relationship with his grandparents. Because we saw that scene in the beginning where in the second episode when the gates opened, and it was just such a sweet exchange between them and Zeke. He's like, oh, hey, Grandpa. And what sucks is Zeke is scheduled to die in like a year, and that guy's going to have nobody now. Just weird to think about that. All your descendants dying out before you do. Just kind of sad. And then we had that fat, drunk ambassador making that really stupid remark, basically, like, yesterday's enemies are still our enemies. That kind of fell on deaf ears. The rest of the crowd was like, boo, get this guy off stage. And then slick Willie Tybur, he comes fucking moonwalking in, and everybody's cheering for him. Hey, Willie! And they're whistling. They really love this guy. This episode just made a lot of effort to show me how much the Tyburs and Willie is loved and revered. Okay? So he basically says that he is producing a theatre, he's creating some kind of play to show his solution for the Titans. And he goes on to say, hey, the Eldians, they subjugated the world, the Marleyans, to do their bidding. And then Marleyans turned the tide, but they just continued that vicious cycle. And now they're using the Eldians. And they're both honestly doing the same things. They're both using the power of the Titans to terrorize the world and get new land. And they're using the power of the Titans for evil, basically. And then we had the festival the next day. That was such a fun scene, the show. That was such a fun scene for me. I'm really glad they put that in the show. Like, the music. Like, this show is such a dark show. So to see these poor kids that are, they have more privileges being warrior candidates, but like they've never had ice cream, right? Like they've never seen a festival or been a part of it. So for them to experience that, and for them, it's interesting to have that in the internment zone. So all these rich people, all these people from other countries who hate Eldians, they're going to walk among Eldians. So that was an interesting choice for Willie to do that. Maybe it's because he wanted to show the world, hey, Eldians aren't that bad. But that was funny when Falco stuffs the ice cream in her mouth, like, yo, try this. And she's like, this is the best thing ever. I laughed, and then I kind of shed a tear, like, oh, I'm so glad that these kids can experience that. I love when a show can make me feel that way. And then we have basically the kids and Gabby getting so drunk off their gluttony. So they put themselves in a food coma, and they're being dragged off by the actual warriors. And then we have, later that night, the big oh shit moment, Falco telling Reiner, hey, come here, I want you to meet somebody. And it's revealed that it's Aaron. So Aaron's sitting there in the basement. I love when Attack on Titan does awesome things with basements. Okay, and you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it basically just ends right there. Aaron says, hey, it's been 4 years. And then Reiner's like, I imagine that's the last person that he thought he would see. So, dude, I love when a show can make me feel this way. Like one of the biggest things going for the show for me, besides like the action, the characters, was the mystery box. That mystery box has been opened and didn't disappoint me. Okay, it did not disappoint me, and they're still keeping me so engaged because now that the mystery box and the honeymoon stage of the show is over, it's standing the test of time under extreme scrutiny. And because I've rewatched it and I'm watching it now with my son. We're still in the first season, and I'm so captivated by these characters. I'm not sure who to root for. But some predictions, like I imagine Aaron is going to give Reiner some kind of ultimatum, saying, "Hey, you did this to me. Now I want you to do this, or I'm going to fuck everything up at this festival." Okay, so that's kind of my theory. And I just feel bad for poor Falco, because unless Falco leaves the room, he's going to feel like, oh shit, Aaron or Kruger, I thought you were my friend. Yeah, so many things in this. Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't heavy on the action, and neither was the last episode. It's still kind of letting me get to know these characters, seeing some motivations. So we're seeing some behind the scenes with like the shadow government that is the Tyburs running things. They seem to be they seem to want the best for Marley and for civilization. They just, I don't know what they're planning now. Like, I don't know. So it seems like Eren is there to take down Marley. And I feel like Magath and Willie, they want, I don't know, that they don't want to take down Marley, but they want to heavily restructure things and create a new false hero, such as Helos. Do I think anyone's going to die? Yeah, I think we're going to see some deaths, for sure. I can't imagine any of the warrior candidates dying, but if they did, I can imagine Zofia dying, because they haven't really given me much to care about for her character, other than the fact that she's a kid, and I don't want any kids to die, no matter what. I don't, Gabby and Falco aren't going anywhere, but if they did, that would shock the fuck out of me. I mean, it definitely, killing Falco would definitely do to Gabby, or vice versa, what killing Eren's mom did to Eren. Okay, and I'm sure they would feel that way if Uda or Zofia died, but in terms of the audience, you know, in terms of the audience, like, killing off one of those two would be big. I don't know if any of those four are going to die. Certainly, I don't think they're going to die soon. But yeah, if Eren turns into the fucking Attack Titan, I just don't think it's going to be, I just don't think that's just going to happen in the next episode. Like, I don't think that's going to be the next move. Because he's there to talk to Reiner. So unless he's there to torture Reiner, but Reiner also has the Armor Titan, so Reiner could fight back. I'm really wondering what, yeah. I'm some theory crafting here. Okay, I gave you guys my theory. I might be wrong. I don't think the next episode he's just going to fucking turn Super Saiyan. I think it's got to be deeper than that. But if he does, like, why would he want the rest of the world? Why would he provoke the whole world to go to war with him? It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it's been 4 years. Maybe Paradise Island has developed technology, like, because, you know, technology moves forward because of war. Like, all technology moves forward because of war. That's why it happens. And that's why we have 4-wheel drive. You know what I mean? Like, so, and also obviously because we're using technology that we got from off-world alien craft that we've reverse engineered. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why we have Kevlar. Okay? I'm actually kidding. Well, I'm kind of kidding. I don't know. Just some weird shit when you go down rabbit holes and you talk about that stuff. But yeah, so I'm interested. I'm just really interested to see, where are those comrades? What are Eren's motivations? What is the state of Paradis? Do they have tanks and shit now? There's no reason to believe they would, but, well, every time that they send ships over to Paradis, they don't come back. So it'd be really easy for them to use all those resources, all those soldiers or guns, everything, and obviously using a boat, like using those boats that can travel great distances that they're not used to, that they didn't have the technology to do before, because they never developed it, because they never left the walls. I mean, I know there's a river, but that's not quite the same. What is Willie Tybur's solution? Okay, guys, I'm going to keep rambling here. I don't want to keep doing that. I want to go home and edit this bad boy so I can try to get it to you guys within 24 hours. Last time I edited, it took forever. I appreciate you guys enjoying the content that we're putting out. I appreciate the guys who are giving my edits some love, because I am trying to create I'm trying to create a slick video that I can be proud of, because I know we're not getting 1 million views right now, but I still want to give it my best, you know what I mean? And I hope I'm doing a good job. That being said, guys, I don't have anything else to say. I'm just going to keep rambling and going back and forth on what I think is going to happen, but the only thing that I can do is just wait till next episode and keep moving forward. And I'm going to keep moving forward now. Guys, thank you so much for watching Attack on Titan with me, and I'm sorry that the reaction isn't featured in this video. I really appreciate you guys listening to my discussion. Let me know what you think. No spoilers in the comments, because I know the sub is a few episodes ahead. That being said, like and subscribe, and leave